Come on. I've been thinking it. You've been thinking it. I think it's time to finally say the controller settings in Destiny 2 are extremely lacking. In the world of FPS games, the customization for controller has grown exponentially, where Call of Duty gives you a surplus of settings to tweak, as well as Fortnite and even Apex Legends goes a step further and literally allows you to create your own response curve and adjust every bit of it to your heart's desire. Sure, only the 0.1% of players will take advantage of something like that and actually take the time to learn exactly what each of those bars do, but it just goes to show that FPS games have come a long way with providing players every tool they need to get the most out of their controller. And then there's Destiny, where, what is this? We barely got an ADS modifier a couple years back and it's been 9 years? Come on, Bungie. Now, the reason you probably never hear anyone advocate for controller settings is because anyone who would probably give a damn has migrated on over to PC and has left these controller shenanigans in the past. The other side is, and I know we've all heard it, Destiny has some of the best gunplay ever. While I'm not denying that Destiny is just a great shooter and that you probably won't find another game that feels the way Destiny 2 feels, I think Bungie has taken this praise and has ran with it all the way and leans on it as the reason why they don't have to keep up with the market and add all those fancy controller settings too. But I think it's time, Bungie, and I have a few recommendations for what I think would be game changers for Destiny controller players, and would of course also earn you some kudos with the PvP community. Let's start off with DeadZone. In case you don't know what DeadZone is, I'll give you a brief description. Imagine a circle with a dot in the middle, and that dot is your thumbstick. Now imagine that dot moving within that circle. Everywhere in that circle would be the dead zone, and as long as the dot or thumbstick remains in the circle or dead zone, none of the movement will register in game. As soon as you move out of that circle is when the game starts to register the input of the thumbstick. Being able to reduce or widen that dead zone can play a huge effect on your aim. A lot of people like the option to widen their dead zone, mainly to combat the likes of a thing called stick drift, but there's actually a lot of value to be had by reducing the dead zone as well. Reducing this dead zone will allow you to take advantage of smaller gradual movements of the thumbstick, which is handy if you like to try and be as precise as possible with your aim. I can't tell you how awful it is to go from playing Call of Duty, where the aiming feels more natural, being able to take advantage of a smaller dead zone, then go to Destiny where I feel like I'm looking around like a robot till I can finally adjust to the dead zone. In case you want to learn about the dead zone in Destiny 2, I want to recommend a useful video from Eternal Dahaka that really goes into detail on the specifics. I'm not affiliated with Eternal, but I found this to be an interesting find, and I feel his channel in general is pretty underrated for the level of insight he gives on dead zones for several games in general. Next up, response curve. Look, I get it, Bungie, you don't want to mess with a good thing here, but this isn't a one-size-fits-all. You have players who have invested thousands of hours into your game and still don't know how to aim. And obviously, yes, I'm talking about me. For those who need an explanation, the response curve is how your aim in game reacts to how you move your thumbstick. For example, Destiny has a more gradual response curve where as you start to turn the thumbstick in a direction, it starts to gradually ramp up in speed till it hits the max sensitivity. A different response curve could be something more raw, where instead of having a build-up in speed as you move the thumbstick, you can have a response curve where as soon as you move the stick, it goes the maximum sensitivity instantly, no gradual build-up. Nearly all FPS games on the market have multiple response curve options these days, and at this rate you might as well call it the norm now. Being able to adjust the response curve to one of your liking would only benefit the amazing gunplay Destiny has to offer, and also convince people like me that I might actually know how to use my thumbs properly after all. Third would actually be a revisit of sensitivity. I like how they added the ability to increase sensitivity to 20 and even adding an ADS modifier. But I would love it if we can make half incremental changes to our sensitivity overall. Like, maybe I'm not an 8 or a 9 in sensitivity today, and maybe I feel more like I'm an 8.5. And as for the modifier, why is the lowest I can go is 0.5? Maybe I want to be able to whip my view around as fast as possible, but when I aim, be able to not feel like I'm suffering from a panic attack. I want the best of both worlds, Bungie. Please. That's all I got for you, though. There's plenty of other settings out there that I could have mentioned, but I wanted to take the time to talk about the things I believe would be the most beneficial to controller players and are more likely to be plausible to come to the game sometime in the future. And even though it may sound like I'm bagging on Destiny for being behind the curve a bit, I will say Destiny has some of the best button mapping out of any game out there, and adding these to the mix would only add to why Destiny is one of the best feeling FPSs out there. With that, if you've taken the time to watch this through, I just want to say thank you. The support means a ton, really. I hope you all have a good day, and peace.